It is, yeah. I walked in it was a cool December day, rainy, not unlike today, in December of 2010, and met Elizabeth and Spencer. They had been recommended to me through a mutual friend who said, you know, they're looking for someone to kind of shepherd the wines while they are searching for another winemaker. Would you be interested in considering that? And I said, sure, I'll go talk to them. And it was really a great moment for me. I got to meet two really passionate people. They have a similar background to mine in that they came from the restaurant industry and then sort of fell into wine from there. So we had a shared passion for food and hospitality, and then of course wine. And within a couple months, it became clear that I was going to stick around for a while, and that, you know, was almost, I guess it's been 12 vintages now. It is. Elizabeth Spencer Winery is here to stay. Elizabeth and Spencer, of course, started this project, and as a family-owned business, it's really been great to have another family-owned business come and bring new energy, but also keep the legacy. The important work that they started is going to be honored, and we'll keep the name. It's a great feeling. I wasn't sure that I would stay on with the winery as these things evolve. Often there are personnel changes, but he made it clear right away that he had every intention to take the brand as it was and just make it better, and that means putting more resources behind it. So for me, I was really honored to be asked to stay because I do feel commitment to the brand, and you know, Elizabeth and Spencer and I have been on this adventure together, so it's really cool to come to the table with some experience with the brand, but also know that things will change, but I think they're going to change for the better. I've known Jean-Charles for a few years. I've seen him speak at a number of functions, and he's incredibly intelligent. So, I mean, his passion is really evident to everyone, but I think it's often overlooked just how serious and smart and committed he is. And he's bringing a commitment to this brand and to the location, and the changes have been extraordinary. I mean, it was a beautiful place, but he's really putting a lot of energy into making it a destination. We've had this secret garden, and we're sort of hidden in plain sight. Everyone that comes to visit, they walk in what looks like a pretty small, cute tasting room, and then they go outside and they can see that it's actually quite a big property. I think we're on almost an acre here. So we also have you know, incredible views of both the Mayacamas and the Vacas, and you really do get a sense that you are in the heart of Napa Valley. You can see the different topography, and when you walk around the property, you really get a sense of what Napa might have been like in the late 1800s, and I think that that's really cool. And Jean-Charles loves history, so I think that's one of the reasons he was drawn to this property. Well, first, food got its hooks in me. I worked in restaurants, and I really loved both the culture of being in a restaurant, the family. I appreciated the fast pace, but I really loved food, and I was very interested in food science, and I had some incredible chefs that I worked for. They encouraged me to learn more about wine. I didn't think that I would pursue wine per se. I really enjoyed actually cooking in kitchens. I also really appreciated hospitality. There's something really special to be able to serve someone and see them enjoy something. I think it's something that we take for granted because we go out to eat and it becomes more of a transaction. But when you are really having a great meal at a restaurant and the service is impeccable and the people are friendly, you feel like you've come to a family table. And I just loved that. So I was living in New Orleans, and I had some very supportive ownership, and they said, you should really learn more about wine. Why don't you go out to Napa Valley and work a harvest? And so I did. That's true. I had every intention of coming home, but a couple of things all happened at once. One, I was working for an extraordinary winemaker, Abe Scherner, and he was working on a very small project that became a very big project kind of overnight, and he brought me in as his first intern, and he really treated me as a collaborator. He was a professor before he went into winemaking, and he actually came out to Napa Valley on sabbatical and stayed. So he had a real sense of the relationship that the mentor and has to have with their student, and so he didn't keep me out of any part of the business or the winery or the wine growing. I also was making his wine at White Rock Vineyards, and I met my now husband, Christopher Vandendriessche. So that was pretty special. And I left about 2 weeks before Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. So I had a reason to stay here longer than expected. And it was really great. Everyone in the community really was wonderful and supportive. They kept me very busy, which was important for me to, I was emotionally a little rocked. I was separated from my family and my friends, and we didn't really know what the city was going to be like. So I did spend some time going back and forth for the first 2 years, 2005 to 2007, and Abe kept me on as a collaborator in that time. And from there, it just evolved. I then went to go work for a really special woman, Debbie Ziegelbaum, at Robert Sinsky Vineyards. And she taught me so much about the vineyard side of life, and a really, really special person, a dynamic, smart, hilarious woman who was really owning it on the vineyard side. And I think that's really important to acknowledge, that while we're seeing more women in the wineries, you don't see as many women on the vineyard side, either working in the vineyards, managing vineyard crews. So she really removed a lot of barriers and showed me how important it was to be collaborative. That was really special mentorship there too. Well, I can go back to my very first pick in the vineyard. Christopher and I were, at this point, he was also making wine for Hudson, Napa Valley. And he was living out at Lee Hudson's property. And they were gearing up for their first pick of the year. And of course, it's a night pick. And so we walked from the house down into the vineyard block that was pretty close to where Christopher was living, and these big booms roll in on tractors, and it goes from being just pitch black and you can see stars in the sky to these lights coming through. And the way the lights illuminate the green foliage at night is really dramatic. I mean, it's cinematic, and it goes from being very quiet to these cars pull in and all of these workers file out, and they just start picking. And it happens so quickly, and the energy behind it, the joy, the anticipation, that was a really special moment. I mean, I grew up in an agricultural area, but harvest didn't look like that. It didn't happen all at once. It wasn't this mad dash, but it was an incredible amount of energy and joy, and that was infectious for sure. Now, when I came out here, I thought I would be the one picking grapes. I had no idea the amount of labor involved. And I have picked grapes myself for some small vineyard projects that Abe and I were working on. And you just get an appreciation for just how hard it is. And it's often really cold those nights when you're picking grapes, and you leave sticky and exhausted, but you know that's just the beginning. We are always happy to host people. when they come in. It's preferable to have an appointment. That way we can guarantee that we've got a seat available for you, because we do get busy on weekends and holidays. And of course, we're a small tasting room, so it's good to call ahead, but we're always able to welcome people if they just want to walk on by. ElizabethSpencerWinery.com. Pretty straightforward.